This is TLC to go.
Welcome, curious minds, to another deep dive. Okay, picture this. You spent hours prepping this amazing lecture, maybe on, I don't know, the Krebs cycle or some complex diagnostic procedure. You know it inside out, you deliver it, you think, pretty flawlessly, but then you look out and you see, well, maybe a few glazed expressions, someone trying really hard not to nod off. We've probably all been there, right? So today we're diving into how we can maybe transform those moments, turn passive listening into real engagement and, deeper learning.
Exactly. And we've got some great material to work with today from the UTHSC Teaching and Learning Center. It's specifically geared towards health sciences faculty, which is perfect for our listeners. Our mission really is to pull out the most useful bits, the strategies you can actually use. We want to help you not just, deliver information, but really spark that curiosity and make sure the learning actually sticks. We're focusing on this really key idea, active learning. We'll get into what it is, why it works so well, and crucially, how you can weave it into your teaching, whether that's face-to-face or, online.
Right. So if you're out there teaching in health sciences and you're looking for some solid, evidence-backed ways to, grab your students' attention and really boost their understanding, you're definitely in the right place. Think of this as your shortcut to getting up to speed on a topic that could genuinely make a difference in your classroom.
Okay, so let's dive in. Where do we start?
Well, let's maybe start with the definition, just to make sure we're all on the same page.
Yeah.
Because active learning can sound a bit vague. There's a definition from Prince back in 2004 that's pretty widely used. It says active learning is any instructional method that engages students in the learning process. Okay, makes sense. But the key part is this. In short, active learning requires students to do meaningful learning activities and think about what they are doing.
Okay. So it's the doing and the thinking about the doing. That's the combo. It's not just like busy work. It's got to be meaningful.
Precisely. It's not just passively soaking things up like a sponge. It's about the students actively building their own understanding, processing it, making connections. Right. And our sources give some concrete examples, don't they? Because meaningful activities could mean a lot of things.
Oh, definitely. And they're probably things many faculty are already familiar with or maybe have thought about trying. We're talking about things like problem-based learning.
Yeah.
Very common in health sciences, right?
Yeah, tackling a complex patient case.
Exactly. Or hands-on activities could be in the lab, sim center, even working with models. Then there's stuff like gamification, using game mechanics to make learning more engaging. Case-based learning, similar to PBL, but maybe more focused. Interactive lecturing, which we'll talk more about.
Interactive lecturing, so not just talking at them for an hour.
Right. Breaking it up, getting them involved within the lecture itself. Also, team-based learning, class discussions, real discussions, not just Q&A. And of course, simulation and role play. Absolutely crucial in health fields for building those clinical skills safely.
That's quite a list. It really covers a lot of ground, from individual reflection to full-on team simulations. So, okay, that paints a picture of what it is. But the big question for busy faculty is always, why? Why invest the time and maybe the effort to change things up? Is the payoff really there?
That's the million-dollar question, isn't it? And the answer from the research is a pretty resounding yes. There was a big study, a meta-analysis by Freeman and others in 2014, huge study looking across STEM fields. And they found pretty conclusively that students in active learning classrooms, they perform better on exams. Their scores actually increase.
Okay, better scores. That's obviously a big deal.
It is. But here's the flip side, and this is maybe even more striking. That same study found that students in traditional lecture-only courses were 1.5 times more likely to fail.
Wow, 1.5 times. That's
Yeah.
significant. That's not a small difference.
It's not small at all. It suggests that just relying on passive listening might actually be putting some students at a serious disadvantage, especially in challenging subjects like those in health sciences.
So it's not just about getting A's instead of B's. It might be about passing versus failing for some.
That seems to be what the data suggests, yeah. And it goes beyond just grades, too. There's other research, like a qualitative study by Osiari and colleagues in 2017, specifically in pharmacy education. And students in that study reported that active learning didn't just help their grades, it helped them develop really essential skills.
Skills like?
Things like critical thinking, problem solving, communication, working in teams, the stuff they absolutely need for clinical practice. They felt it genuinely improved their learning overall, not just their ability to memorize facts for a test. It helps them process information more deeply, connect it to what they already know, apply it. That's how you build real understanding, especially when you're dealing with huge amounts of complex information.
Okay, so the why is pretty compelling. Better scores, lower failure rates, and development of crucial professional skills. So if you're convinced, or at least intrigued, the next hurdle is the how. How do you actually start doing this without, completely redesigning your entire course overnight?
Right. And that's where the practical advice comes in. And the number one piece of advice, echoed in the resources, is start small.
Start small. Okay, like really small.
Yes. Don't feel like you have to become an active learning guru instantly. Pick just one strategy, maybe one of those examples we lifted. Try it in just one class session. See how it feels, see how the students respond. And really importantly, don't get discouraged if we all do. So lecture for about 15 minutes on a key concept or topic. Then pause. And insert a short active learning activity right there, between the chunks.
Okay, like what kind of activity? Needs to be quick.
Yeah, quick and focused. It could be a simple poll everywhere question, just checking comprehension, or you could use the muddiest point technique. Ask students, what was the least clear point in the last 15 minutes?
Ah, I like that. Give you immediate feedback on what's not landing.
Exactly. Or a 1-minute write. Pose a quick question related to the material, like, how might this concept apply to a patient with condition X? Or jot down one question you still have.
Mm-hmm.
Give them literally 60 seconds to think and write. It forces them to process and apply the information immediately. Or even simpler, just ask them to reflect silently for a minute on what was just presented.
Those seem really manageable, little bursts of engagement within the existing structure. What was the second tip?
The second major tip is about logistics, planning ahead. When you decide to try an activity, think through the timing. How long will it take you to clearly explain the instructions? Don't underestimate that part.
Good point. Confusion about instructions can derail things quickly.
For sure. Then, how much time do students realistically need to actually do the activity, whether it's a think, pair, share, a quick problem, whatever? And if it involves groups, even informal ones, factor in the time it takes for them to, turn to their neighbor or form a small group. Just thinking through those practical time elements beforehand makes it run much more smoothly.
Right, so you're not scrambling or running out of time. Being intentional with those minutes. Okay, so start small, chunk lectures with mini activities, and plan the logistics. Seems like a solid starting plan. Now, for folks who want to explore more, maybe get more ideas or see examples, the UTHSC Teaching and Learning Center points to other resources.
Yes, absolutely. For those who want to dive deeper, there are some great options. There's something called the K. Patricia Cross Academy. They have an active learning technique video library.
Oh, videos. That could be really helpful, actually seeing these techniques in action.
And they also mention an active learning toolkit series from the University of New South Wales in Australia. Sounds like a comprehensive resource.
Okay. And what about resources directly from the UTHSC PLC itself?
Yeah, they have their own great stuff too. There's a piece by Leslie Hamilton in their 5-minute university series called Active Learning in the Clinical Setting.
Perfect for our audience. Clinical setting has its own unique challenges and opportunities for this.
Definitely. And they also have recordings of relevant webinars. One is Engaging Students in Active Learning with Dr. Claire Major. Another is Active Learning Strategies in Remote and Face-to-Face Courses with Drs. Amy Hall and Devin Scott. So that covers both modalities.
Fantastic. It sounds like there's a wealth of information available for faculty who want to learn more and get practical support.
There really is. And what's great is how these resources bridge that gap between the educational theory and the day-to-day realities of teaching health sciences. They offer concrete, evidence-based strategies.
So wrapping this up then, what's the main takeaway from this deep dive? For me, it really seems to hammer home that how we teach can be just as important, maybe even more so sometimes, than what we teach, especially for long-term retention and skill development.
I think that's spot on. Moving from just delivering content to actively engaging students in the learning process can have a huge impact on their success, both academically and ultimately as future health professionals. The evidence really supports making that shift.
Yeah. It's about fostering deeper understanding, not just surface memorization.
Which leads to maybe a final thought or a question for you listening. Thinking about your own teaching, maybe your very next class session. What's just one small active learning strategy? Maybe a 1-minute write, a quick think, pair, share, a muddiest point check-in that you could try. Just one small step you could take this week to bring a bit more active engagement into your classroom.
That's a great question to ponder. A small change could make a big difference. Well, we hope this deep dive into active learning has given you some food for thought and maybe some actionable ideas you're excited to try. Thanks so much for joining us today. We hope you'll join us again for other deep dives into interesting topics, all designed to help you stay well informed, efficiently, and effectively.